Murder. Father.
The three main characters of In Bruges are all connected by a single event.
You murdered someone for money.
An event with a result that, as it is with most human decisions, could not have been fully known before it was made.
Who did you murder for money, Raymond?
But once acted out, cannot be unmade.
You, Father.
And marks not just the end of two lives, but the origin of an inescapable chain of events for everyone connected to it. Producing a quiet, disorienting feeling that it could not have happened otherwise.
The little boy.
Shortly thereafter the instructions came through. Get the fuck out of London, you dumb fucks. Get to Bruges. I didn't even know where Bruges fucking was. It's in Belgium.
When you first watch In Bruges, the film presents itself as a brilliant combination of themes on guilt and morality, a mediation on purgatory, all entangled with a grain of dark comedy.
You're an inanimate fucking object!
But upon a subsequent viewing, one cannot help but notice that its narrative structure uses every small detail, every scene, every piece of dialogue, however unimportant it may seem in the moment, to set up another event that is crucial to the conclusion of each character's story arc. What I find equally as interesting as the metaphor of Bruges as purgatory is this perpetual feeling of inescapability that runs through the story. That every misfortune, every event, every apparent coincidence is part of a single unified structure. One that makes the eventual ending impossible without every small detail in between. It is a feeling that doesn't belong to the film itself, but reflects a very real human experience. A feeling of how our lives can appear logical and structural, moving from one place to another with specific goals or a clear direction in mind. And how, as the result of one action or a series of them, we can find ourselves inside an uncontrollable set of circumstances that makes any previous sense of coherence unimaginable, leaving us with both a hope and a question. Could any of it have happened otherwise? Around the same time that Bruges was just one of many unnamed settlements within what was then known as the Frankish kingdom of Francia, a Roman senator named Boethius in the year 523 AD was faced with the very same feeling that In Bruges evokes in me. And he might be one of the first in the Western world to have put it into words. You see, Boethius was quite a successful man for his time. Made a Roman senator at the age of 25, and by his 30s he had achieved the title of sole consuls and master of offices. Everything in his life seemed to follow a coherent logic. Wealth, respect, rank, and two sons who followed in his achievements. By any measure, he had reached the summit of what a life of effort and intelligence could reasonably promise. Within the same year, he was executed on charges of treason, which to his death he maintained as fabricated. While he was awaiting execution, Boethius needed an explanation to a single question. How does a life that appeared coherent and fair have just produced this result? How does a chain of events, followed link by link with apparent logic, arrive here? The attempt at an answer came in the form of a book composed inside his prison cell called The Consolation of Philosophy. In keeping with the Greek tradition that inspired Boethius, in which the word for wisdom, Sophia, is feminine, philosophy appears to Boethius not as an abstract concept, but as a woman, old and vigorous, who has come to answer the questions he cannot answer himself. She tells him that the question has less to do with the events we experience in time and more with a problem of how we experience reality as a whole. A problem not of circumstance but of perception. Philosophy says to Boethius that the coming into being of all things, the whole course of development in things that change, every sort of thing that moves in any wise, receives its due cause, order and form from the steadfastness of the divine mind. Viewed in the very purity of this divine intelligence, this method is called Providence. But viewed in regard to those things which it moves and disposes, it is what the ancients called fate. This feeling I have been trying to map out, that the aspects of our lives that feel as though they could not have happened any other way, viewed from outside time, to Boethius by God, or in the case of in Bruges, by the eyes of the beholder, is Providence. And to the people living inside them, to me, to you, to Boethius, or to the characters of in Bruges, these same events appearing sequential, linked, apparently accidental and often brutal, is fate. But Boethius doesn't believe that providence or fate diminish our free will. We are fundamentally free agents, the choices we make are genuinely ours. But to Boethius, God is the only one who sees all of time, past, present, and the future. Our choices are free in themselves, but they only acquire their full meaning when seen from this timeless vantage point of God. Not because they were ordained or not freely chosen, but because they were already known. We, on the other hand, simply cannot comprehend the full stories of our lives while we are still living through them. And perhaps that is what purgatory, or hell if it exists, feels like.
Maybe that's what hell is.
A sense of being suspended between what we did and what comes next, waiting for a judgment that may or may not arrive. A place we are inside, moving through, without being able to see where it leads.
The entire rest of eternity spent in fucking Bruges.
Which only becomes comprehensible when it ends. The meaning and result of such a judgment is, of course, a matter of personal belief.
Do you believe in all that stuff, Ken? The Last Judgment and the afterlife? Guilt and sins and hell and all that?
To Boethius, Lady Philosophy's answer is quite simple. Although to you, she says, who are not altogether capable of understanding this order, all things seems confused and distorted. Nevertheless, there is everywhere an appointed limit which guides all things to good. As for me, I have not yet found the strength or the courage necessary to make that tremendous leap of faith. I still incline toward the probability that chains of events are at their root random, a product of independent forces converging without intention or design. And yet there have been moments, and I'm certain there will be more, where the collision of those forces felt like something reason alone could not explain. And yet still, unlike Boethius, I cannot find refuge in a providential, omnipotent being who guarantees that in the end, it all leads somewhere good. But nevertheless, the feeling remains. And perhaps that says more about me than it does about fate or providence. Whatever our personal beliefs may be, what Boethius identified so long ago points towards something real. That the feelings of providence or fate are, at least in part, a consequence of perception. In a book with the fitting name The Human Condition, the German-American philosopher Hannah Arendt articulates something that I feel puts this feeling into perspective. By locating its source not in God or in fate, but in the structure of human action itself. Every time we act, Arend says, we enter what she calls the web of human relationships. A vast network of every human action, intention, and eventual consequence. These deeds, according to her, are what our shared world consists of. And because this web is composed of countless intersecting intentions and purposes, no one can fully foresee the full consequences of what they do. These consequences are only fully revealed after the action is done.
I killed a little boy.
And we can try to reason through our decisions, weigh the options, anticipate what comes next, but this is the structural condition of being human. that every actor acts in partial ignorance of what their action will eventually produce.
You didn't mean to kill a little boy.
And whatever our intentions might have been,
For money.
once we act, the act becomes irreversible in the deepest sense. Partly because it cannot be undone, and partly because it was committed in genuine ignorance of its full outcome.
I know I didn't mean to. But because of the choices I made and the course that I put into action, a little boy isn't here anymore. And he'll never be here again.
And any attempt to eliminate this, to make consequences reversible, outcomes fully predictable, would require eliminating the very thing that makes us human. A shared world where every action of ours inevitably meets the actions of others.
He's dead because of me. And I'm trying to get my head around it, but I can't. I will always have killed that little boy. That ain't ever going away. Ever.
And we simply cannot escape the calamities of action without ceasing to be the kind of creature who acts.
Unless... maybe I go away.
In the web of human relationships, every act starts an avalanche of consequent deeds, possibilities, and sufferings. Because every action is irreversible and not fully comprehensible beforehand, it produces a boundless number of possibilities, where every process, no matter how small, is the cause of new processes with the same irreversibility and boundlessness, and on it goes. What then feels to us like fate or providence is living inside this chain, boundless and unstoppable, without being able to see where it leads. With every action we open the door to possibilities that, without that action, could never have existed. And when one of those possibilities arrives as the direct result of something we freely chose, we cannot help but wonder whether everything that has come to pass was already decided for us. And so we find ourselves exactly where we are because of what we freely did, not despite of it.
That's the motherfucker.
We're taking you back to Bruges.
Brilliant.
We make a prison out of our lives, a prison of choices, where seemingly unconnected circumstances
You take 490?
Entry is €5.
Would you like some of these dividends?
I know I shouldn't, but I will.
and the deepest convictions of our character
The boy had to be let go. The boy had to be given a chance.
I'm sorry, Ken. But you can't kill a kid and expect to get away with it.
I see.
You just can't.
are all boundlessly connected. Each piece making the next one possible. Each small decision closing one door and opening another. Until the only remaining path leads exactly where it was always supposed to.
The little boy.
That's right, Ray. The little boy. Ah. I see. Got to stick to your principles.
Where Boethius presented a providential God as the author of our stories, the one for whom the full meaning of everything is visible from outside time, for Arend this role belongs to the historian. For in Bruges it belongs to Martin McDonagh, and by the end to us, the audience. And this is part of the reason why I find good stories and the medium of film in particular so important. They give us the rare ability to experience the full meaning of a story and its characters from the position of outside time. To be, for a brief moment, the storyteller rather than the actor. As for us individually, when those feelings arrive in my own life, they still remain so hard to put to words, perhaps impossible. Because we are, at least to some degree, characterized by a permanent asymmetry between the experience of living and the experience of understanding. Perhaps it's because we are finite creatures living inside an infinite unfolding, where the real meaning cannot be fully grasped while our stories are still continuing. We live inside chains of actions that we didn't fully design, whose structure we cannot perceive from where we are, and from which our own free will, the very thing that makes us, is the primary mechanism of that entrapment. Whatever name I try to give it, fate, providence, the web of human relationships, or simply being, when those feelings of irreversibility and uncontrollability lead me onto paths that contradict everything I thought I understood about my own life, I can only accept them as something beyond my understanding. And so, I hold on, because in the end, I can only hope.
And I really, really hoped I wouldn't die. I really, really hoped I wouldn't die.